Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're diving into a really cool strategy called niching down, based on the work of Christopher Lochhead and Heather Clancy. And it all starts with a pretty wild idea. I mean, think about that for a second. What if trying to be the best is actually the worst possible strategy for your business? It sounds totally backward, right? We're always taught that to win, you have to outperform everyone else. But what if that whole mindset is a trap? Let's dig into why being different and not just better could be the actual key to winning big. So this brings us to what we can call the be better trap. Right from when we're kids, in sports, in school, it's all about competing, about being better than the next person. And that bleeds right into business. It pushes us into this head-to-head fight for the same customers. And honestly, the only real winner there is usually the company with the most money. For most of us, that's a game we're just not going to win. And this right here, this quote, is the heart of the whole idea. Focus on what makes you different rather than trying to be better. It's not about playing someone else's game, just better. It's about inventing a completely new game, a game where you're the one making the rules. Okay, to make this super clear, let's use an example. Let's imagine you want to open a new cafe. We're going to see how the be better strategy and the be different strategy play out in the real world. And trust me, they lead to two very, very different places. All right, so if you follow the typical playbook, what do? First, you go study all the other cafes. Then you basically copy them, their menus, their prices, their vibe. And then you try to compete by being just a little bit cheaper. What's the result? You just get lost in the noise. You're basically setting yourself up for a price war you can't win, and you end up being totally forgettable. It's not a great plan. So if that's the trap, what's the escape route? Well, it's not about being a slightly improved version of what already exists. The real answer, your secret weapon, is to be different. And there's a really deep reason why this works. Our brains are literally hardwired to notice what stands out. Think about it. It's an old survival instinct. If everything's the same, we tune it out. But the second something new or different pops up, boom, it grabs our attention. In a world crowded with a million of the same thing, being different isn't just a strategy. It's how you get seen in the first place. Okay, let's go back to our cafe idea. What if, instead of trying to be for everyone, you did something totally different? What if you only served people heading to work, say from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m.? All of a sudden, you're not competing with every other cafe in town. You've created a special category. You're the go-to spot for the morning commute. You're not just another coffee shop, you're a destination. And this is the fundamental difference between the two strategies. Being better forces people into a comparison game, usually based on price or features. You're fighting over people who are already looking for that thing. But being different, that forces customers to make a choice. Suddenly, it's not about which is cheaper. It's about, do I want the regular thing or do I want this new, different thing? One is a race to the bottom. The other is how you create a whole new market. So this whole idea of being different isn't just a cool thought. It's actually a formal discipline with a name, category design. And this is where we get into how you can intentionally build something that stands out and, well, becomes legendary. So what is category design? At its core, it's about creating and then dominating a brand new market category. It's not about your product, not at first. It's about teaching the world a new way to think about an old problem so that your solution becomes the only logical choice. You're selling a new point of view. Here's a killer example, 5 Hour Energy. They didn't look at Red Bull and say, let's make a better, tastier energy drink. No, they looked at the problem differently. They realized people wanted the energy boost, but they didn't necessarily want all the sugar and liquid that came with it. So they asked a different question. Do you want an energy drink or an energy shot? And just like that, bam, they created a whole new category. That tiny shift from drink to shot wasn't just clever marketing. It created a choice where there wasn't one before, and it built a billion-dollar market from scratch. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you become a category creator? The good news is, it's not about waiting for some lightning bolt of inspiration. It's a playbook, a mindset. And it all starts with how you look at problems. There's that great quote from Albert Einstein. He said if he had an hour to solve a problem, he'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and just 5 minutes on the solution. And that's exactly what category design is all about. It's a deep, obsessive focus on the problem itself, long before you ever jump to the solution. So here's the basic 3-step playbook for creating a category. Step 1, find a problem that other people are overlooking or just don't think is important. Step 2, use storytelling to explain why this problem matters and frame your new solution. And step 3, use all the technology and media we have today to get that story out there and build up your category. And when you look around, you see these category creators everywhere. Airbnb, they didn't build better hotels, they created a whole new category of affordable local travel. What about all this vegan junk food? They didn't just open another vegan restaurant, they smashed vegan and fast food together into a brand new thing. And Apple, they didn't make a better BlackBerry, they created the smartphone category, changing how we live our entire lives on the go. But creating that first niche is really just the start. The journey doesn't stop there. The goal is to use that small, focused space as a launchpad to take over the whole market. This is how you go from a niche idea to a legendary brand. And here's the long-term game plan. In year 1, you niche down. You deliberately pick a small market, a tiny beachhead that you know you can completely own. By year 3, the goal is to dominate that space, become the undisputed king of that small hill. Then by year 5, you niche up. You use the reputation and the momentum you've built to expand into bigger, related markets. You start small to get strong, then you expand from a position of power. So let's bring it all the way back to our 2 cafes. What's the final scorecard? Well, the better cafe is stuck in price wars, totally forgettable, fighting for scraps. But the different cafe, the one that niched down, it's a market leader, it's memorable, and it has a fiercely loyal group of customers. The strategy you choose at the very beginning dictates the entire outcome. And that brings us to the final question, the one for you to think about. What new category will you create? Stop asking, how can I be better? And start asking, what can I do that's truly different? The world really doesn't need another copycat. It needs your unique way of seeing things. Thanks for watching.